So California is seemingly starting to slowly, or maybe not slowly, maybe quickly, to reopen everything. But they're limiting capacity at all the stores, at the restaurants, at gyms, I suppose, when they're gonna reopen. They just announced that now barbershops and salons can reopen, assuming that they take the proper precautions. When I read this, it got me to thinking, if I were a brick and mortar and they said, okay, you can now reopen, and I've been, sitting around, I got the PPP, so I can pay my people for a little bit, what would I do? How would I pivot to try to survive and make money, given the fact that I have to spend extra money on following the guidance, and I am limited to the capacity of how many people can walk through my store or my restaurant? I don't really have a solution. But, I suppose you'd have to sit down and, look at your margins, look at what this limited capacity will do to your sales. Also consider the fact that, people are extra cautious, not only to be out and about, but also with spending money. It's hard to say what it's going to look like. What it did get me to think about was that I think that it's very important to run the numbers, to have some sort of a projection of what might happen sort of in the worst case scenario at this very limited capacity, to see if it's even worthwhile to reopen. I think that for some businesses, it might not be. Maybe they stay virtual completely, maybe they just wind down. You have to now spend extra money on all these protective measures. Maybe you have to hire more people to accommodate these protective measures. You already know that less people are going to walk through, so obviously your revenue is going to be down. I suppose you could try to mitigate that by increasing the prices, but who knows how the public is going to react to that. Probably a starting point for me would be running these projections to see, well, what am I gaining? Am I breaking even at all? Maybe if you're breaking even, it's worth it to just keep your brand out there. And if it's covering all of your expenses and maybe leaving you a little bit extra so that you can pay for your personal stuff and don't have to look for another job, it might be worthwhile to just stay open to preserve the status quo and kind of wait it out until things get back to normal. But if you run the numbers and, you're probably not even going to break even, but you want to just reopen and hope for the best and kind of see what happens, and then I would probably encourage you to think twice. But I'm curious, if you're a small business and you're a brick and mortar and you're coming back at half capacity, how are you pivoting? Tell me about it. I'm very curious to know.